expected. I actually flinched a little bit. Hey, where'd you get the bomber sound effect? Where'd that come from?
No, that comes from outside, man.
Oh, you're completely in character now, huh? You're gonna pull fucking Tom Cruise on me?
I'm going full method, man.
Alright, whatever.
Yo, man, put your head down. It's coming. God damn it, I say, get your head down.
Relax. No black guys died back then. Otherwise, they would have told us. They didn't tell us anything about that, so it should be good. Alright, let's get this thing started. Have you been to England?
Yeah, once.
Like, really?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Shit, I must have been like 5 years old. I do remember it, though.
All right, so it was back when they had men in that country. That's basically gonna ruin the question I had for you.
You mean the grit?
Yeah, the true grit that the British had. Because I'll tell you right now that country's a fucking mess.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you can go to jail for saying something that hurts someone's feelings, and someone blows your shit up, and the most important thing is that them blowing our shit up won't make us angry. Yeah. We have to show them that we're not angry and we're not riled up and ready to fight. We just saw the movie Dunkirk, and I gotta tell you, after watching that movie, if I was a British man, I put my head in my hands, I'd fucking cry. And I say, what the fuck happened? I heard some good things about the movie. I said, yeah, whatever, we'll just go see it on the lark. We weren't even gonna fucking review it, man. I saw it and I was like, shit.
It's your Christopher Nolan's version of Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, because freaking Spielberg locked that shit down.
Yeah.
But Kristen Nolan pulled it off. He did a pretty good job. You know what? Let me tell you guys the actual historical story of what happened in Dunkirk instead of telling you the plot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you the actual story, and there's really no reason to say spoiler alert, because if you don't know what happened, then you're a goddamn Philistine. Anyway. The Battle of Dunkirk is when the British actually jumped in to the war to make their first attempt to push back the Germans. It was their version of a European invasion. And the problem was that they were doing all the heavy lifting in Africa. The fact that the French, let's not sugarcoat it. The French got their asses beat like a drum in Europe. So the British were basically completely outmaneuvered, completely surrounded. They were just in bad fucking shape. So the whole idea was the British are huge and massive troops. If they couldn't get those troops back so that they could launch a counterattack somewhere else, the British were fucked. Yep, no. So what happens is they pull their troops back to the city of Dunkirk. I think it was Austin Day as well, I believe. But it was like 2 or 3 cities. But they pulled them back to Dunkirk, and because they needed so many of their warships to hold the Germans off, they really couldn't send anyone to pick up their troops. And what eventually happened is there's this like state of emergency that the British government can issue, in which they would conscript all these civilian sailing vessels to use in a state of war. And this goes all the way back to the old Queen Elizabeth, like the first one. It's like, yeah, we'll just take your fucking ship and commission it into war. This is like the wooden ships and whatnot. No one ever thought that they would have to use this. But the idea was, I think they had like, 300,000 men over there?
Yeah, they had 300,000.
And they were like, look, we just want to try to get like 30,000 back. We'll be lucky if we do that. And the military could not do that. So once they said, fuck it, these guys are pretty much dead. We're going to let, the civilian people know you can go across the English Channel, help us out, pick up some troops. And so many civilians took their boats over there, they actually managed to withdraw all the British troops that were still there.
Yeah, England wasn't that far from when this happened.
It was far enough. I mean, it wasn't that far, but still, goddamn, it was far enough to make it hard as shit. So all these civilians just fucking took their boats and they went over there, and stiff upper lip can-do attitude, and they brought their boys home. That in and of itself, that was considered a huge victory, because that's what allowed them, for the most part, that's what allowed them to survive the Blitz, so that when the Americans eventually got in the war, there was actually something to work with. Otherwise, that whole country would have collapsed. It doesn't sound all that spectacular, especially when you compare it to D-Day, but when you watch it, yeah, it's pretty impactful.
Pretty intense.
It's pretty intense. You see what's happening in France. It's, very clearly that the Germans completely had them surrounded in there. Pushed
Yeah,
down
France
to,
was done.
all the way to the shores.
You barely saw any German soldiers at all.
Well, that's the whole thing. Yeah, the Germans were doing sorties and whatnot. They were mostly leaving it up to the Air Force.
Yeah.
Which you could see in the movie. What the Germans were mostly concerned with was the Russians. If not for the fact that Hitler started some shit with the Russians way too early,
Yeah.
he could have pretty much pushed it. He could have taken that entire British army. He could have taken them. And then Britain would have been out of the war. And he could have focused on Russia. But
This
you know,
movie starts out guns a-blazing. I mean, you see depleted soldiers as it is, already tired from
well,
war.
yeah, but when it starts out, and that's kind of the cool thing. When it starts out, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
They just drop you right into the scene.
Yep, you're dropped right into the scene in the eyes of the British soldier. I think was it Gibson? Is that the soldier? Was it Gibson?
I think it was Tommy.
Well, the thing is, it's so drab. There's not like a lot of colors. So when you're in the heat of it, man, they all look alike. All the soldiers are just, plus the uniforms are torn. There's mud splattered on them. It's very, very, very hectic.
I feel for the protagonist here, even though
Which one? There were several.
Yeah,
and I like that too.
The first one, he's there with his platoon, and he's just trying to use the bathroom, man, and he can't.
Well, his attempts to use the bathroom is the only thing that saved his fucking life. His whole platoon, they're in France, and they get slaughtered to a man, and they're not even trying to fight. All they're trying to do is make it to the beach, which is where the evacuation is.
That was Tommy, I think.
That was Tommy?
Yeah.
Fiorin Whitehead. Great job. Guy did a good job. When I was watching it, I wanted to say, okay, they're portraying him as a coward. But as the movie goes on, they take pains to show to you that there's no such thing as a coward.
No. Not
These
at all.
men are put in a position that is completely unattainable.
They're desperate.
And it's
They can't
completely,
fight back.
it's completely normal to say, I want to live another day.
Yeah.
And all the ships, they're only, what few ships they have, they're only using to take out the wounded. So what Tommy and some other dude does, I think it was like the French dude.
Yeah, the French soldier, yeah. Damon.
Because they're not letting the French soldiers anywhere near their boats. Like, fuck you guys. This is for
there's
British
a
only.
scene that Tommy and the other French soldier
Damon Bernard,
who disguises himself as a British soldier by
Mhm.
taking the uniform. Somebody
Right,
was dead.
right. And
They're-
what they do is they find a guy who's injured.
Mm-hmm.
They put him on a stretcher and they run for the boat because the boat's about to go. They get the guy to the boat. It's like, yo, get an injured guy. I got to get him on here. So they manage to get the injured guy on the boat. And the guy on the boat's like, yeah, you two fuckers, get off. It's like, what? There's no fucking room. You know, we weren't even supposed to let that guy on. Get off. So when they're trying to leave, they do a little something, some shenanigans. Instead of walking up the gangplank, as soon as they get up the top, they drop down to the side of the pier. Because the boats can't come right up to the beach. The water's too shallow. So they get on the pier, and they're trying to see if there's some other way to sneak on. And lo and behold, that saved their life because the boat was sank.
Yeah.
Right then and there. So when you have all the guys jumping off the boat, what do? They dunk themselves in the water and come back up wet. And what's that?
Why did the boat sink?
They got hit.
It was a submarine.
Oh, yeah, a torpedo hit him.
Yeah,
That's right.
a torpedo hit it. And that
hit
was
him.
rough.
Yeah,
That was
rough,
claustrophobic as shit. I was like, damn, that sucks. The way those guys got taken. So they dunk their heads in, come out, say, okay, all these people, let's put them on the other boat. They were already clear. Leave, let's put them on the other boat. So they line these guys up to go on the other boat. And then guess what happens? That one gets sunk too. So at this point, you're like just desperate as shit.
Yeah,
Just to get anybody off
You
that
are
island.
so desperate in
Off
this
the
movie.
land.
Makes you desperate watching it because you're in a position of all the soldiers in there,
Mhm.
and you got airstrikes. The
Even
plane was
that.
passing by and dropping bombs, and then you got a U-boat that you don't know where the hell it is,
Mm-hmm.
and it was sinking the ships.
Well, how many different point of views was it? Was it 3? Was it 4?
I think it was 4 or
You had the
5.
captain of the ship.
No. It didn't have his point of view. It was a fighter pilot point of view.
Mhm.
There was the 2 guys that were just trying to get away.
Yeah.
The 2 soldiers. There was a civilian who was one of the first guys to take his boat with his son, and then his son's best friend who's supposed to help them go, he jumps on the boat too, like, I want to help, sir, I want to help. And they're both like 16, 17. So they jump on, and I think there was one more person's point of view.
That was the soldier that they rescued in the water. It shows you what happened to him the night before.
Okay. So
Okay.
there's 4 different points of views. And with no one's point of view, every single person's giving 110%.
Yeah.
The boat captain's just there with his sons, and the sons are so eager to go out and fight, like, yeah, we're gonna help and this and that. And the father is kind of trying to temper that down because he served in the first one, the Great War. And he's like, it's not as glorious as you think. And you learn later on, which is a wonderful line. At one point, the pilot gets downed, and when he comes on the ship, the pilot asks the guy, like, what are you doing here? How do you know about? So, I was in the first war. And he's like, look, you're too old to be out here, man. You can't do anything. Well, you know what? People my age started this war and then forced people your age to get into it. The least I can do is come out here and try to fight that I started.
Yeah,
this is the fight that I started. My people started this.
You could see it on his face that he went through World War One.
You
see it clearly. It's like this old man knows something.
And there's pain there. Like when the pilot went down and his son was like, yeah, he didn't parachute out. He's gone. It's like, yeah, we're going to go to his plane and try to get him. No, he's gone. He didn't parachute out. He's most likely dead. Yeah, well, he may be alive too. I don't know what it was, but there's like some guilt there, possibly for the people in his old unit that he wasn't able to save.
Yeah.
And they never mention it, but the way his voice cracks a little bit, it's good.
Yeah.
It sends the message. I love it.
And all the acting here is not what they say, is what is not said.
Exactly.
And there was just so many great actors here giving great performances. First guy they rescued, I don't know his name off the top of my head. He was the guy from Batman. He's Scarecrow.
Was that freaking Jack Loban?
Yeah, he's the guy with the shell shock.
Yeah.
And he barely said anything, but you felt his pain on screen.
And the thing is, the sons are like, what's wrong with this guy? Is he a deserter? All he wants to do is go back to England. He doesn't want to let us take him over there so he can help his brothers. And the guy's like, no, it's shell shock. He's messed up, but the worst thing is he's probably fucked up for life now.
Yeah,
the best you can hope to do is get him able to interact.
Yeah,
sort of the way he used to. But he's like, no, that guy's fucked.
Yeah, he's saying he was changed. It's like, he's changed now.
For the rest of his life, he's changed. He's like, that's shell shock. All that means is that guy saw some shit.
Yeah.
Think a soldier coming home from Nam. That guy saw some shit.
Yeah.
And it's like, he's broken.
That very same scene where they found him, that was awesome. I mean, he's just sitting there by himself.
No, you're just waiting for the boat to sink. He was the last person sitting on top of the boat as it was going down. And it looked like when they showed up, like he was contemplating whether he should even
go down with the ship or just
even try to live.
Yeah.
It's like, I've seen the horrors of war. I don't know if I can do this shit no more, whatever, but they brought him on. These fighter pilots were really working against the clock. I mean,
they were overstretched.
It was only 3 of them, and they had been there since who knows when, getting rid of as many German fighters as they
possible,
could.
Yeah.
There was no reinforcements coming.
That was
no backup, no nothing. It was just these 3 guys, and I think one of them ran out of gas. Yeah. Right.
One of them got shot down very early.
One of them got shot down. One ran out of gas. Because they were constantly trying to stop these guys. They were doing because they didn't want to go back for gas. They're like, we're all they have, dude. I'm looking at the troops down there. 3rd one was shot down, and there was one more, which was awesome. The last one, this brass balls son of a bitch, shot down a German fighter, ran out of gas, and then his plane was gliding. And he kept going in a giant circle around where the men were, just gliding, no engine.
And at the beach.
Yeah, and whenever he would see another German plane just gliding, he'd shoot at it. I think he downed like a bomber.
Yeah, he downed 2
bombers. While he was gliding.
Yeah,
he's like, I'm just gonna keep fighting until I can't fight anymore. My men are down there. I'm looking at them.
One thing I noticed that when German planes were coming down, they were diving. And one thing that you notice, soldiers are talking. There, you see the beach, and then you hear. Sound. And that's when everybody was taking a shit, and everybody was oh my god, they're coming down again, and everybody's to the fetal position hiding. Right.
And just hope that it's not you that dies this time.
This courageous pilot, and just match him, and that's it.
He says, best case scenario, I shoot down a plane.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, the plane comes after me instead of shooting at the men. With the guys going through so much shit, you really kind of tear up at the last minute when you see all the civilian boats, because when he tells the rear admiral that's there, it's like, yeah, that's it. Churchill said he's pulling back all the ships and using for home defense. So he put out the order for all the civilians to come and pick us up, and hopefully we'll get 30,000, maybe, hopefully, out of 300,000. When it finally comes through, and you see just like this huge flotilla of civilian ships, and because they're not as big as the battleships and whatnot, they're harder to hit. So they just come in and pick up all the troops and take them home. And then best of all, when they get back home, they all feel defeated. They all feel like shit, like we failed. But all the people were cheering. They're throwing flowers at them. They're thanking you. I like what the old blind guy did. The old blind guy handing out blankets says, "Good work, boys. Good work." Every person gets a blanket too. Good work. Good work. And the guy says, "Good work. What for?" "All we did was survive." And the guy said, "That's good enough. Good work."
Yep, that was good enough.
That was all they had to do. Just survive. We're going to go back and fight again.
Yep.
You know, you survived. We're going to pick ourselves up. We're going to go fight again. Not like the millennials and the other pussies over there think. Now, no, this was like, all right, you know what? Dust myself off and get back over there.
It's that grit, man. It's that.
And everyone treated them like heroes. And I was like, man, it's such a better time. Winston Churchill be spinning in his grave so goddamn fast, you can hook a gyro up to him and use him to power the electricity for the city. At the fucking speed he would be spinning in his grave.
Gigawatts.
Just have some balls, man. Just some balls.
Well, apparently those balls died with what they call the greatest generation. And then after them, it was just the baby boomers and everything went to shit from there.
Oh, man. It just dropped you into the scene, man. You had no moment to catch your breath at all in this movie. Dane was over there sitting and his circuits were spinning. All the pre-computer.
Yeah, there were no computers. So
nothing.
I guess it's like, it was a simple
analog
time.
Electronics. That's what they had at that time.
Yeah, back then the
tubes.
internet was a set of tubes, as Al Gore likes to say. Internet's not a person; it's a set of tubes. Do you think it's worth all the praise you've been hearing?
Yes,
it's gotten good reviews. Let's check it out.
It's in competition with one of those lift me up movies. Mm-hmm. It's not really a lift me up movie. It's more or less like.
Remember where you came from.
Remember where you came from.
Stop your pissing and moaning because Facebook is down for 3 hours.
Man up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
exactly.
like one of those man up movies.
You want to go ahead and review it?
I want to stress that even though this was an historical movie, I love the fact that there were like no women. I saw like no women.
No, I saw two.
There was like 2 or 3
women. The Red Cross, yeah.
The Red Cross, yeah. And I heard that online people were talking shit about this movie because there's like no mixed races or nothing. Apparently World War II is racist. Yeah, I was like, dude, you're making a historical film.
Yeah, let's not keep it. Yeah, let's not talk about all the Jews that were tossed into a furnace. Let's talk about the fact that they didn't have women running around shooting.
And there's just a lot of great scenes. It's really hard to describe because a lot of it is shown in the eyes. All the acting here is shown in the eyes.
Exactly. What did these women were doing, Antoine? Tell me about it.
They were the Red Cross women.
Right.
They were wearing their all white and whatnot. And they were just tending to the men as best they could, putting bandages on, giving them tea, giving them bread and jam. I guess they would call it marmalade, just to keep their spirits up.
They were inside a ship.
When that ship went down, they died. Yep. Yeah, that was pretty rough.
You have to have some brass ball knowing that, this ship sinks, you're fucking dumb.
Yeah, they don't even have a gun.
You know what's sad about
all they can do is just hope they don't die.
Like, these guys are exhausted out there for days or how long they've ever been.
No food.
Barely any water. They get one slice of bread with some jam. That is it. This was their last meal for a lot of them.
Yeah.
It must have tasted awesome for them because they probably had eaten shit the whole time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. You know what? But I think Christopher Nolan hit this one in the nail. So, we praise Saving Private Ryan. We praise, what's the one with
Clint
Eastwood. I'm sorry. Clint Eastwood one,
Yeah, Letters from Iwo Jima.
But they had a great deal of amazing cinematography because it captured the ambience of the coldness. And I felt like, wow, this is fucking great, I did have a little problem with the music because I'm thinking of fucking that Clockwork with Dark Knight. Mm-hmm. And we started doing like...
Oh, yeah.
There was a little bit of that. That's what he's good for.
Shit.
What?
I didn't recognize anybody except for like the Admiral and the fighter pilot.
That's all the people you need to recognize.
You know what?
are you talking about?
I'm glad he grabbed no-name actors because it's just better for you to relate.
Can you imagine?
They all can be expendable at any moment in time.
There's too much war going on.
Can you imagine the pressure that those fucking officers were going through?
Stiff upper lip, man. That's the British way. Keep calm and carry on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even when all was said and done, and they finally got the officers all went last, and there was a private who went to sleep on the dock, And he woke up like, oh shit, everyone's gone. And the admiral's like, hey, private, let's go. This boat's for the officers, but whatever. We ain't going to be picky. Let's get the fuck out of here. And when he goes, the colonel jumps on the boat. The admiral's like, no, I ain't going. I'm staying here for the French. I mean, they kind of seem somewhat guilty because they just kind of left the French to fucking...
Yeah, they're
like,
trying to get off the... They were trying to get off the Dunkirk,
you Frenchies
too.
ain't getting on our boats, man. This is... there's barely any room for us.
There's a scene that I really love at the beginning when the main characters, his buddies, were getting shot. That town in France.
Yeah.
And they're running, and he climbs the fence, and you see the Frenchmen's fucking faces were like shitless fucking scared. Seriously, they were like, yo, this is our fucking home, and we're taking fucking bullets.
That's it. They ain't nowhere else.
They were
for us to
fucking
go.
scared, and they focused on that. They were like, holy shit.
Yeah, there was really nowhere else to go.
Yeah, I mean, that beach was actually really clear. I mean, like clean,
that
clear.
Well, that's what it was like back then.
I mean, it was
Except
nice.
for the oil in the bodies.
Yeah, the
I mean,
oil,
it's
the
pretty-
bodies,
it's
and that
pretty
foam.
clean besides
whatever
that.
that foam, that sea foam was.
That was supposed to be oil. That was the oil coming up in the foam.
Oh, okay.
That explained it.
Yeah, that was the oil. They did a pretty good job with that. Remember, back then, those boats they weren't running on gasoline. That was pure fucking oil.
Yeah.
Those boats were running on. Tell from the
Jeez.
smokestacks and shit.
So,
And there was a theme that we were speaking to before we started recording. It was the theme of sacrifice.
Yeah.
On and on about that someone had to sacrifice for the greater whole to survive. The pilot sacrificed, the boat captain sacrificed, the admiral's sacrifice for the French, knowing that he might be captured as well.
For people that really he's not responsible for.
Yeah, it's just really amazing, just the humanity during inhumanity.
Absolutely.
So what do you rate this, man?
I'll go first. This movie really did everything right. Everything it needed to do, all the points it needed to hit. Because I was really expecting just some sort of fighting, action. But when you realize what Dunkirk was, this wasn't no fighting, act. This was just us trying to get out. It was sad. It sucks that it happened, but we just wanted to leave, get the fuck out of there. And they did such a great job making you feel empathy for everyone and making you feel what the purpose of. Everyone was sacrificing. And you realize that it hits the heartstrings at just the right time. All that. It's all good. But I really have a hard time giving it a full price because this genuinely feels like I will watch this once and never see this again a day in my life. I've seen Saving Private Ryan like 8 fucking times. And possibly because Saving Private Ryan has those action scenes that can really get me jazzed up. It makes me feel guilty because to me, that's a shitty reason not to give something a full price. But I don't like the idea of paying full price to go see something opening night, knowing that, I'll enjoy it, but I'll never fucking see it again. So
I'm shocked that you're not going to give it a full price because your boy Tom Hardy was there. Remember
yeah.
Saying like, oh man, I want this movie
He was the
inside
badass fighting
I
back,
want Tom Hardy inside me.
Yeah. And I do feel guilty about that, but I have to be honest for our fans, or I should say fan, singular. I don't know if you listen. I want to be honest with them. So I'm going to say a very, very, also very high matinee. And I swear to God, anyone asks me about this movie, I'll say it's a wonderful movie. I will try to make money for the movie. I'll convince people to go see it. I'm just feeling guilty right now, but I cannot in good conscience give it a full price. I give it an excruciatingly high matinee.
For me, there was a lot of pain, a lot of learning of the human condition.
That
people
sounds
can
like
learn from.
bullshit.
No, I'm serious. I mean, a lot of stuff people can learn from this movie. By saying that, I kind of actually agree with you. There's a combination of scenes where you see tons of suffering.
Can you see yourself watching this again?
To watch this again?
A second time.
I don't know if I can. Maybe if somebody didn't see it. But
even if someone saw it, I personally would recommend
me
it.
going off
not...
on a second time, I would say no. The reason why I would say no is because most of the scenes you could be dropped in at any point in the movie and get the point. You could be dropped in from the beginning of the movie, watch the whole movie. You could be dropped in at the middle of the movie and watch the rest and kind of get the gist of exactly what's going on.
Right.
And get enough of what's going on just in a short span of time.
I think what you're trying to say is once you know what you're expected to feel emotionally, you can't really feel it because you know what's supposed to be coming.
Yeah.
So you prepare yourself against it.
Yeah.
So that emotional grip that it had on you. Now it's just you watching some guys talk.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it in that way. I was kind of gripped, but
You were emotionally gripped when you watched it.
Yeah.
But if you're watching it again and you already know this guy's going to die, the people are going to come in at the last minute to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, all that stuff that really tugged at your heartstrings, you already see it coming. So all you have left is like the action and whatnot. And this wasn't really about the action. It really wasn't much of that.
And you know what the sad part is? I was very disappointed that they didn't put any photos or anybody that he based some of these characters off of. That was very disappointing to me. Because normally when they base it on a certain characters, they're actually real people.
I didn't have a problem with him not saying, who was based on what. I didn't have a problem with that.
And the last character, the hero, the pinnacle hero of the movie, which is the fighter pilot, I really want to know what happened to him afterwards. And that's what kind of made me disappointed in a way. Like, oh, was he killed in a camp?
Well, that's not important.
But but
that's why they didn't take that any further. That's not important.
Yeah, it's one of the heroes of the movie. You just want to keep up with that. What do you think?
So what do you give it, Ray?
A high matinee. What do you got?
Dang, what do we got?
Come again?
Were you asleep?
No, man.
What do you rate the movie?
No, man, that shit changed me, bro. I'm not the same now.
Is Skynet not going to get to you?
Same. No.
Now you're going to feel for humans now?
Skynet, man. This is fucked up. I give it a full price. You know why?
Oh, okay.
I give it a full price because it shows you the moment of people, heroism, and cowardness at the same time.
Right.
You ask me, oh, would you ever see it again? Absolutely. It's so much things that I remember in the movie that I want to see again. Damn, this shit's fucked up. And like Ray was saying, like what happened to the fighter? Well, he most likely got killed. He probably got interrogated.
He's not Russian, so it wouldn't have been that bad. They actually treated people on the Western Front with some modicum of decency. If he was a Russian, I can imagine maybe they'd be ripping teeth out. But
the cinematography is beautiful. I give it a full price.
One thing I really liked was at the very, very end where they're in the train and you see these two boys, they're just playing. And the war is so close to them, but yet they're living their normal lives. All right, guys.
So overall, we've got a good high matinee. Yeah,
high matinee is pretty good. Pretty good.
He deserved it.
Hey, you guys broke up or something?
No, I'm right.
I'm talking about Antoine.
Oh.
Yeah.
Antoine doesn't like Tom anymore.
Tom Hardy's his one.
He's his boy now. He's like
he was banged, man. He's
I grew over that crush and shit. I feel like older now. Blah blah blah.
I've grown. I've grown. I have to walk my own path.
All right, guys. Till next time. Don't forget to visit our website g2ta.net. Visit us on Podbean, g2ta.podbean.com. God damn it, here they come again, man.
That just scared the shit out of me, bro.
Man, you made it? You okay?
I've been better. I'll just walk it off because I'm a man.
You're missing a leg.
Fuck it.
That's diabetes, bro.
Oh.